Get this 11 to 1 weekdays on the Triple M network.
Good morning, everybody. We're under observation by the youngsters today.
Yeah.
It's putting a lot of pressure on
those
us.
kids with their rap music, hey?
Have you got some fake applause for yet another one of the Prime Minister's interrogators on Patterson Lakes Primary School FM a few months ago? It's Eliza.
Oh, Eliza.
How are you?
Hello, very good.
What have you noticed observing in here today?
You guys have a comic touch.
A comic
touch. Thanks very much.
Seen very little evidence of that so
same.
far.
Jeez, Louise. So what's your segment, Eliza? What do you do?
I was introducing and I asked the Prime Minister who he would like to ask to dinner.
Oh, yeah. He went on and on about Ricky Ponting, didn't he?
Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono.
I don't know if I could pronounce the President of Indonesia's name.
Yeah,
Oh, it takes years.
Yeah.
It takes years of practice. Hey, did you hear when we pushed the Prime Minister off a cliff? Did you hear that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, we did that on our show.
The Labor Party says,
Sounds painful.
It certainly does.
He bounced.
Should have tried getting that cliff into the studio. It was exhausting. Now, we couldn't get much out. I must say, security's very tight. Hayden and Lucy told us nothing
What
about
are they scared of?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you guys have brought some sort of adult minders with you. There's the principal here who's got a suit on. Probably got a gun
Yep.
in his jacket, I'm suggesting. Sort of showing it to the kids if they get out of line.
I don't think
And then sort of your agent, who's
Yeah.
somebody's mother, I think. She's somebody's mother who's Donna, who's sort of, telling you what to say. And what was she telling you off air? What does she want you to sizzle up, promote?
She wants us to tell that we've invited Kath and Kim onto our show as they're filming in Patterson Lake.
And?
They haven't accepted yet.
Oh,
Is that right?
stone cold. Well, why not? What, did they give a reason?
No, they just haven't called back.
Well, got to get used to that.
Okay.
Yeah,
We've got Kenny coming too.
Oh, Kenny.
Kenny's
Yeah.
coming.
Fun.
Will he
Yeah.
be... so Shane Jacobson plays Kenny in the movie. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Oh, okay. See, another trick of radio.
Pretend you've seen it.
Pretend you've seen the
It'll
film.
Be fine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that in radio.
Just at the top, say it's a modern-day Australian classic, and then sort of laugh out of it. He won't know the difference.
And then just mention
Yeah.
all the jokes that are in the trailer. See,
There
there's
you
another
go.
Hey, here's another thing. If you've got, a deficit of hilarious material on your radio show, hit the Foxtel and find those New Zealand crime shows. Oh, we love a bit of that.
You allowed to watch TV whenever you want, Eliza?
Yep, pretty
yeah, you
much.
do what you want at home.
Within a good time.
What's the time? When is it bedtime? What are you talking? Midnight?
About 9 o'clock.
Well, this comes on after that.
Well.
Yes, and I've made sure that it's one of the ones without too much swearing today.
Too much
Yeah.
swearing.
Because
Some.
it's Police 10-7. They basically just follow the cops as they pick up drunks in New Zealand. You wouldn't think it'd make for riveting television.
Well, you'd be wrong.
But have a listen to this bloke. In the middle of his interview, he just tripped over a wheelie bin. It's a great sound.
Another dog handler is also on the scene. He goes into the property ahead of Gareth and challenges the man they find still outside the woman's door. He's a bit unsteady on his feet.
What are you doing here?
I'm a friend.
You're a friend. You're saying you know the people that live here.
Yes.
What's the person's name?
Hey,
What's the person's name?
I'm like,
Blair!
Sounds even more painful.
It certainly does.
It sure does.
But, I just love that sound so much. I just got the next minute of his interview and I just thought I'd drop that in a few more times. It amused me after midnight.
Fair enough, Tone.
Just lean against the wall. Just lean against the wall so you don't fall over.
it's like,
Do you know what the address is here?
yeah,
What is it?
I'm so drunk. Sorry, I can't.
It looks like it's a extremely 1K male that's come to the wrong house. How did you get here?
How do I get here?
Yeah.
It's my friend. Sorry.
Yeah, how did you get here?
I know, I'm so drunk. I could try it. Sorry, guys. I don't. Sorry.
A lady thought that you were trying to break into her house.
No, I live here.
Well, you don't live here
Oh, no, I don't live here.
because someone else lives here.
Sorry. 58E. Like, I live here.
You live at 58E. This is 130.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm drunk. Sorry, Kim.
Oh, I could listen to him trip over that wheelie bin for hours. That is a warning of the dangers of alcohol, Eliza.
Yeah, ouch.
Yeah.
Yes. I love how all the way through you can just hear the police dog go, yeah. I think the guy had a sandwich in his pocket. Do you have a dog, Eliza?
Yes.
What sort?
Labrador.
Oh, I've got the Labrador. There is no off switch on the eating, is there?
No.
How much does it eat?
More than it should.
And if you just stood there just feeding it sandwiches for a day, it would never stop, would it?
No, it wouldn't.
Does your dog dream about a crumb that's under the fridge?
I don't dream her dreams, I'm not sure.
Back in your box, Martin. Right.
Not on my watch.
That's enough out of you.
The kids from PLPSfm are with us today. There's a whole bunch. Some of them are in the studio, and there's a whole other crowd out
Literally
there
out there just
looting the sales
yeah,
department.
taking stationery. Good work, kids.
That's how it works. And we're under observation, and they're obviously keen to see how radio professionals operate. You've got Ed Cavalier over there. He's
Hello.
the prize king, working on some, well, a new prize pack, apparently, for Talkback Mountain.
It is a desperate bid by a desperate man in desperate circumstances.
Oh!
Sounds desperate.
Yeah.
Hey, who else is joining us here?
Hello, Mitchell. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm good, thanks.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Now, you've broken your hand there, have you?
Oh, my finger.
Doing what? Now, can I just tell you here, Mitchell, just quickly, if the answer, which was what I did when I was a kid, when I sprained my wrist, I did it just sort of taking a bit of butter out of the fridge and I fell over.
Oh, pretty clumsy, are you?
Yeah, yes, Mitchell. You want to take us outside? And that's not cool. So do you have a cool story of how you got that?
I was just playing football.
Yeah.
It's a fashion at school at the moment. There's about 3 of them.
Really? With broken hands?
Yep.
Broken fingers, just giving the umpire the finger too many times.
Any price for fashion.
Now, was it, Mitchell, weren't you the kid who asked the Prime Minister the question you didn't want to answer?
Oh, yes, I was.
What was that question?
Will you fly Garuda Airlines?
Oh, and he didn't want to comment on that. Wow.
Did you come up with that one, Mitchell?
Yes.
Yeah, good job. Mitchell, are you taking Eliza to the disco tonight?
Oh, no way.
Why not? Who are you taking?
Secret.
Nah, come on. Who's you taking, Eliza? Do you know?
Not sure. I'll pump him a bit if you like.
Well, yep.
What about your dog, your Labrador? Will the Labrador be going to the disco?
There'd be
Tony,
nothing left.
Tony, you were the only one who ever took their Labrador to a disco. All right?
That's great. Do you ever get the dog up on the back legs and just dance around the room to music?
Sounds a bit queer.
You were going to get a job on Triple M with talk like that, Eliza. What do you know about football?
It has an umpire.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
More than we know.
Good enough.
What about our listeners? They've been sending in. Who's? Are there any troublesome teachers at Patterson Lakes Primary School? You know.
Not troublesome, just a little bit too smart.
Oh, really?
Is that right?
Anyone on the sauce?
No,
No,
not that I
exactly.
can
Fair
know.
enough. Fair enough.
We
We'll
did.
be in detention.
Yep.
We had kids calling up the other day with stories about teachers showing bizarre
yes.
films at school
Yeah.
and weird punishment techniques they
Yes.
had. What sort of like if you're in trouble at your school, what happens?
You miss half of your lunch.
And what do you have to do?
Just sit there
And you have to
doing nothing.
write down what you think you did wrong.
How would you know that, Eliza?
Yeah, Eliza.
I don't know.
This is the show ready to go.
This is. Those things are so hard to write because you don't want to incriminate yourself. So you got to make it sound kind of petty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen to this. Kaz has written in and said
Kaz.
about the phone in the other day about unusual teacher behaviour. In year 9, we had 3 teachers come to work at the school, 2 male, 1 female. One of the male teachers was dating the female teacher.
Oh, yeah.
And the other male was dating the sister of the first male. So when we had camp, the 3 teachers left us alone one night. We didn't see them until lunch the next day. They left us in the company of the film Fight Club.
I got lost by the second word.
Yeah, it was very
well,
confusing.
fair enough.
It's very poorly composed, see? That's the standard of education out there.
Yeah, kids. Yeah.
That's unusual, isn't it? Just leaving the kids to watch Fight Club?
Yeah, have you kids seen Fight Club?
No.
Fair
No,
enough.
that's
Probably
not-
shouldn't watch it.
We wouldn't have been allowed to watch that nowadays. Do they show you films at school?
Yes.
Only educational.
Oh, right. Be careful with that lathe. That was one we had.
What's a lathe?
It was a piece of equipment in the woodwork room. Every day we had to watch a film called Be Careful with That Lathe. Something might happen. So what kind of films do they show you?
Well, we're studying natural disasters at the moment, so we've got
Right, that's why you've come in here.
cyclones and all that stuff.
Oh, cyclone footage.
Yep.
Are they daggy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
What would you like to be seeing in the classroom? Stuff off YouTube?
No, just the movies that we tend to watch at home.
Oh, what's your favourite at home? Come on.
Is it Suddenly 30? That's Richard's favourite movie.
No,
Jennifer
I've
Garner.
got lots of favourite movies.
Let's hear them. What are they?
I've forgotten.
Come on, Eliza.
Come on, Eliza.
What about you, Mitchell? What do you
How
like?
about you tell?
Oh,
Hilary Duff's The Perfect Man.
oh, that's a
really?
bit gay.
Oh, wow.
You give the sound
Good to
effects.
see that one still getting a run.
What you need to do is, if you got the horn there,
Yeah.
see, when you say that, you need to emphasise it with a sound effect. So
Yeah.
give us that line again.
That's a bit gay.
There you go.
Bang! That's the segment ready to go.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be your job, just saying that, cue up the horn,
Yeah.
and anything we bring up. So just mention, hey, what about that emo music?
That's gay.
There you go.
Oh, no, see, that's a bit gay.
No,
Works better.
see,
Yeah.
Mitchell, you've already passed it, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate.
So people are
Worked
over
for
it.
a while. Yeah,
They're moving
over
on
it,
to
mate.
what's the new catchphrase?
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Things are that fleeting in radio.
Yes.
Hey, do you want to play Time Tunnel? Like, what is something that you guys remember from when you were younger that you now look down on and go, I'm not interested in that anymore? It's out
The
of
Wiggles.
the
Oh,
Wiggles.
The Wiggles, really?
Dancing to the Wiggles.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because you look more like a Hooly Doolies man to me, Mitchell. Is that about right?
Who are they?
Oh, come on. He's got a tattoo.
Big purple bear.
Oh, that's a big gay.
There you go. That'll learn
Steal
it.
my lines.
That's how radio works.
Sorry, mate. It's ours now.
Who have we got now?
We're now joined by Aaron and Laura. Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good
Now,
stuff.
Laura, you were the first person to speak to John Howard, were you not? On your show.
I was the first person to ask him the first question.
Wow. How did you get selected for that?
Good speaking skills?
Are you a suck-up, Laura?
No.
What do you think, Aaron? Why did she go first?
Because she got picked.
Ah, good answer.
So true.
That's the kind of answer
That's
John,
what we're looking for.
John Howard was giving you answers like that,
Yeah.
wasn't it? There's so many kids in the studio. They're all slipping me bits of paper. I've been told to ask you guys about what happened at Camp Warrabinda Red Faces. What's going on there? Aaron?
Well, I told a few jokes.
And how did they go down?
Fine.
Yeah, you want to give us one now?
If Miss Macaulay and Mr. Wilkins fell off a roof, who would hit the ground first?
Who?
Mr. Wilkins, because Miss Macaulay would need to stop and ask for directions.
Mr. Cawley has been zigged.
Take that.
Are you allowed to do that kind of material on your show, on your station?
I haven't been on the station, but I done it on camp and I got a point off because I was making fun of Miss Macaulay.
Oh, wow. It'll be about 10 points
She
off
is
now.
So like that.
You'll be missing most of lunch hour, I'm guessing, for the next week. No.
No, not my watch. Yeah. Good on you, Aaron. Stand up to Macaulay.
Stephen Curry.
I'm tangled up. I'm fine. I'm untangled.
And if you're just joining us, we've also got the kids from Patterson Lakes Primary School observing us today.
Oh.
And I've already said a rude word once off air.
Don't you reckon those kids from Patterson Lakes are so much better than those kids from Chelsea?
No.
Oh man!
All right,
it seems to be in agreement there. They didn't like my game with a hockey stick and a Hills hoist, but they like the Chelsea gear.
I think Mr. Curry may have sworn just before. We're going to have a swear jar today.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Change for $1.
Actually, I might just take that one back. Thank you very much.
Hey, welcome aboard. And I
Thank
guess you're sick of people saying how brilliant you are in The King.
Well, we have had one negative one.
Really?
Oh, really?
This guy, I don't think I can say his name really, but this guy up in Sydney, he called it a mean, bitter piece of work.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, might have been describing himself,
Well.
but I'm not quite sure.
Okay, well, I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, you're showing, multiple sides of a person who was known to be a complex individual.
He was indeed, but that's the thing. We've had 104 reviews to the contrary, or opinions to the contrary in the press. But this one man, Steve Price, said that you can't do. Didn't
Steve
like it.
Price, the dwarf tosser, as Mick Malloy used to call him.
Really? There you go.
Okay. So, I mean, you've probably been asked every damn question
Yeah, I know. What
that
are
you
you-
can be
what's
asked about.
No, I've been asked 4 questions, and in every single interview.
Let's hear them, which are they?
So it must have been an honour to play the King.
Yeah, right.
And can you say dug a hole? It's quite amazing. No jokes. This one place in Newcastle, I had a 10-minute phoner.
Yeah.
Right, that's what we call it in the biz, phoner.
Yeah. Write this down, kids.
And not 1 minute was about the King, and 9 minutes, no jokes, they were just chucking lines from the castle at me. It was amazing.
What did they want? You
Well, what
to
they
do
did-
the lines?
Yeah, pretty much. And they started setting me up for gags. So at one point, the guy goes, He goes, so, Steve, me and my mate here we've got a bit of a greyhound syndicate, and we want you to come in as a partner. Wait for it. It's only going to cost you $2 million. What do you say to that? I knew where he was headed, and I just went, I'm not interested. He goes, no, mate, you meant to tell me I'm dreaming. I said, that's not my line, and can we just talk about something that's happened in the last 11 years? These kids here weren't even born when that happened, and now they're all walking, talking people.
That's right. Gee, I tell you what, the mystified looks when we're mentioning the name Graham Kennedy. I mean, I'm from New Zealand. We didn't have Graham Kennedy over there at all. And I came here in 85, and as far as I'm concerned, he was the bloke who hosted the show where they just showed clips from British comedy shows.
Oh,
remember he used to do that, Graham Kennedy's World of Comedy.
There you go.
And then they would show on the Logies.
What, kind of like Gilbert's show?
Yeah, he was doing a Gilbert style deal.
Okay.
Yeah,
But, you would see on the Logies stuff of Graham Kennedy, and it would be desks blowing up and custard pies. And I'm going, what is the fuss about Graham Kennedy? And then Pete Smith sent me an uncut episode of In Melbourne Tonight. And what you realise is it's not all things blowing up and custard pies. It's a guy sitting at a desk for 2 hours.
Trying his darndest.
Trying to make something out of nothing.
It's unbelievable. And we went into Nine and we just went through their dusty archives. I don't know if you've ever seen this room. I've mentioned this a couple of times. This is another question.
Yeah.
What was your research?
Yeah.
But we walked into this room and there's a bunch of boxes and they've all got these dusty old U-matic tapes in them.
Yeah.
And they've got no labels on them.
Oh, God.
So you just kind of reach in there and go, whatever, and you put it in.
Whatever.
And you do. And you put it in. And invariably you'd get a night that Graham wasn't on, or the audience just wasn't on, or he didn't want to be there, or whatever happened. And that's the best stuff. That's the most interesting stuff.
Just watching him sitting there for 8 minutes with a box of cereal, trying to think of something to say about it.
Absolutely. And everyone else, you can see everyone else just off the side of the camera just going, you're on your own.
Now, were you always going to be the king? I mean, did they, when they wrote it?
There have been 2 incarnations that have approached me before and offered me the role, and they've all fallen over.
Right.
And this one, they offered me the role, and then they got the money up, and then the people who put the money in said, I don't think that kid from the castle can do this.
Really?
So I had to audition, and so they got all of the bug-eyed guys in Melbourne together.
Because I heard Richard Wilkins was in line for a long time.
Dickie Wilkes. Well, it got it down, they whittled it down, and they said, no, eyes aren't big enough, eyes are too big. There's a fine line.
It's all in the eyes.
Got down to me and Alex Dimitriades. And it turned out he was too tall.
Hey!
So, but I was actually slouching, so don't tell the producers. They'll spew.
Right.
They will spew. But yeah, so I kind of, in the end, I got it. And I reckon a couple of days before, they probably got cold feet and wanted to audition, someone else. There was all this Chris Lilly gear, but that's just because he's got bug eyes too.
There was a bit of Chris Lilly talk.
They said, let's build up it's like a street war between 2 bug-eyed guys from Melbourne.
Good idea.
And that's the way it worked.
That's
Great idea. Turn them against each other.
Yeah,
but it's interesting because it's not. It's not an impression that you're doing of Graham Kennedy. It's not like you would do it if you were playing him in a comedy sketch.
Check this out.
Yeah.
No. Well, that's the thing. It basically, we said from the outset, I can't do impressions. You know what I mean? It's not.
Right.
That's not sort of what I do. But also, it's just that thing. They were talking about prosthetic eyes and all that sort of stuff.
Prosthetic eyes.
Yeah, and I just at the very start, I just said we're not going to do that because. You turn it into a sketch. You turn it into that. It's about telling your story. It's about kind of paying homage to the man rather than people going, look at those eyes,
and that would be so distracting.
Wow, he really looks wonky. But I look wonky enough as it is.
Let's talk about being the king. Are you the king of something in real life, Stephen?
No, look, I wouldn't like to lay claim to being the king of anything. I'm the prince of cheapness.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, some friends of mine would call me the prince of cheapness.
Okay.
And no joke is too cheap.
Come to the right show.
I've had some that have cost nothing.
What about you, Mr. Cavalier, the king of food?
No, I'm the king of handball at Patterson Lakes Primary.
Yeah, but you got the height, you got the reach.
Oh, well, that's what they said. We played the grade 6 kids, and I played them for lunchtime, and I was king for the whole time.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
I'm the king of, I'd like to say that I'm the king of spotting sound effects in movies and recognising which sound effects album they're from.
You are very good at that.
A pretty obscure...
Tony, which one are the... the gasp? The kind of the gasp they always use in the...
that's off
Juice Bigelow's, etc., etc. You got it, Curry?
Just worked out... Sorry, I'm sorry. I know this is off the topic. I've just worked out what I'm the king of. Because you just mentioned it.
What is that?
Knowing where boobs appear in movies. No
Flying high.
jokes. Flying high, she bounces across the screen.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Flying high 2, they go through the X-ray machine.
Yes, they
Thank
do.
you very much.
Sorry,
It was
kids.
amazing.
We're providing a very
sorry,
poor
sorry.
example for the
Amazing.
kids. And can we have a round of applause for Jack, who's one of the cast
D.
members at PLPSf.
Thank you.
There he is. No applause at all, apparently.
Hey! Finally come round.
Another tip for Radio Girl. Be ready on the buttons. What have you done to your hand there, Jack?
Hairline fracture to my finger, my pinky.
How did that happen?
Playing mini football up in the front room.
Yeah.
Always the way. It's the age-old problem.
Very fun.
And are you the king of something at your school?
Basketball. I like basketball. I'm not that good.
I heard
Somebody,
a
you
rumour.
know. What did you
I heard
hear?
a rumour that you're the king of girls.
No.
Hello.
No.
Come on, Dad.
Someone yelled out that you were the king of shortness.
Oh, hang on.
No, that was Brady.
Well, Richard's the king of short bus.
No, probably best not mention. It was Brady. What is Brady the king of?
Shortness, yeah.
Shortness, bang! Cop that, Brady, back at your face. It's turning into a Thunderdome in here. Are there any other kids at the school who would be described as the king of something?
Not really, no.
No one in this room?
Or probably Maxwell.
Yeah, what's he the king of?
James, king of the cockiness.
Oh, king of cockiness. Hello. And is that because James told me just before we went to air, he's the king of hairstyles?
Yeah.
Well, there's a
Patterson.
few.
That's pretty cocky.
Really?
There's a few contenders, is there?
Yep.
Gee, if you announced yourself as the king of hairstyles in the 70s, you'd be beaten to a bloody pulp. Sweeney style.
Pete, how are you?
Hey, how are you all going?
We are excellent, sir. What are you the king of?
I am the king of picking faults in neighbours.
Now I've got one. What do you got?
At the moment, the thing that really gets me yelling at the television
Ben Lawson's hair?
is, a little bit further down, it's supposedly paralysed Fraser, whose legs move all the time.
Yes.
Okay.
Take that,
Okay.
Lawson. This is my friend Ben that plays Fraser. Now, I don't know if I can say this, but listen, Pete,
Yeah?
there may or may not be a plot development with Fraser coming up soon. Now, I need you...
Because the whole wheelchair
Sounds like a mate
thing,
of me.
Sorry?
the wheelchair thing's never been done before. It's revolutionary.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Okay, all I'll say is to look out. The next time there's a big plot development for Fraser, look very closely at a special day of his, and then we'll talk again. All right?
Right, you sure that didn't happen last night?
Oh, hang on a second. Is he? What happened last night?
This is
Sorry?
confusing.
He's engaged.
Okay, the wedding day. We can say that now. When they get married, you watch.
Wow.
Is it the front cover of TV Week for him?
No, well, no,
And
he's
that'll
not.
be a still shot so the legs won't move.
He's not that pretty. All right, thanks, Pete.
Time for one more king. Who's it going to be?
Sean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's
boys.
we are.
I like it already.
We're excellent. Now tell us, what are you the king of?
I'm the king of clowns.
The king of clowns. Well, how can you claim that?
Many people have told me that over the years.
Yeah, what's your greatest work, do you think, in that regard?
I'd have to say doing a nudie run through Cavill Ave in the Gold Coast.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of kings who've tried that kind of gear in their
A
time.
large royal family.
A few earls as well, I would have thought.
What else you got for us then, Sean?
I'd have to say driving naked. I'm a truck driver, and my friends decided that it'd be fun to drive naked.
Sean, could I suggest that you're not perhaps the king of clowns so much as the king of public plum exhibitionism?
Well, if he was driving naked with a funny coloured wig and a
That's
red nose
true,
on,
that's
I mean,
true.
I'd call him the king of
Good on
clowns.
you, Sean.
All right, we'll call him the
Thanks,
king
mate.
of plums.
King of plums.
Case closed. Stephen's idea.
Stephen?
He wants Ed Cavalier to just eat continuously.
Can do.
24 hours a day for an entire month, called Smorgasbord.
Oh, that's pretty good. For June, I was thinking, what about spoon? Where you just walk around spooning someone for the
Okay.
whole month.
Very nice.
Okay?
Very nice.
Never seen not spooning.
And we could have Spork-gust.
Which is?
The fork and the spoon combined. What else do you have, Tony? No, the spork.
Right.
It's the spoon and fork that you use at
Oh,
picnics.
yeah. Okay.
I was, Rich,
But
I
You're
was
familiar with the spork?
Of course
But
I am, but
I
I'm
just-
leaving you out there. I'm familiar with the splade as well, but I was talking about...
In bed.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
With the missus.
Are you saying that I was
I just
suggesting
thought you
someone
were-
was just going to carry a spoon around?
Hey, I'm sick of spooning. What about having a spork? So what you get up to with your incredibly hot girlfriend, Richard?
Rich.
Just a whole bunch of sporking going on.
Oh, yeah.
Whole lot of sporking going on. What about Paul Hopkins? He says for the month
Hopkins.
of August, why not have Augie March? That's when you pretend that August is March. Then we can have Capril all over again.
Whoa.
That's Paul, the Yarny lover. Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, that's the end of that idea.
That one went
Back in
bad
your
at
box,
the end
too,
there. What about
this magnificent pair of globes?
And in particular, Krystals. The Zoo magazine is here, and Krystal busts out inside Australia's luckiest bra. Oh, that sounds great. I'm going to get the Zoo magazine today and open it up to this page here. There's Krystal taking a trip down memory lane. Let me turn the page again, and oh my God! My breasts feel natural with a bit of bounce. They don't just sit there like rocks. Turn the page. Oh, other girls ask me if they can feel my boobs quite a lot. This is great. It's just a non-stop parade of Krystal's boobs. I'll turn the page again. They're just as sensitive as they ever were. I'll turn the page again and oh my God! Is that Krystal's boobs yet again from a different angle? But then go one page too far and you'll hit the world's fattest man.
Oh, man.
A man who has to be craned from his bed to go anywhere.
He's somehow got an extra stomach in his leg.
He's basically an enormous testicle. How's the way Zoo have laid that trap for the boob lover? You're just going along down memory lane.
Happily in memory lane.
Bang! Suddenly.
Nightmare, Tone.
I mean, surely when you notice...
Look, he's got a great rack, admittedly.
One of your thighs inflating to an enormous beanbag-sized testicle...
And it rubs the ground.
You'd go, oh, maybe less biscuits. Maybe one less milkshake.
And he can't lie on a bed. He has to straddle it with one huge sack of leg fat dragging along the ground.
Monstrous.
How many pets has he lost underneath that mound alone? Just tails and whiskers poking out from every angle under there.
He's Manuel Uribe, the monstrous Mexican.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not going to read that out. People might be eating. Be careful if you open Zoo.
No, just say it, Tone. It's a nightmare for who?
Memory lovers.
No.
What?
The casual masturbator.
Oh. I didn't say that.
You've said it many times.
In my stage show.
Yeah.
On the radio. They are. That mixture of scantily clad women and hideous injuries that Australians apparently crave from their glossy magazines. It is a nightmare. All right, now that we've soiled the program, Gilbo's here. He certainly is. Have a look. There he is. Russell Gilbert.
I know you were talking about Krystal and stuff, and it's quite well known that she's had some work done, and I'm having some work done on my
Oh, really? Down
on a particular area. Yeah, I'm getting them Botox. I want the ring.
Really?
Yeah. And
a lovely flat bag.
Yeah,
Russell Gilbert.
Just not happy with the way they're looking at the moment. They're just way too wrinkly. And I think that lasts for 3 months. So
really?
It's only about $444.
Worth it, Russ.
I just want to hear those words that you never hear put together. You know, the words lovely and the word scrotum.
Yeah, that's true.
You've never heard that. I want to change that. The words lovely and the word scrotum.
Gilbo, I remember back in the early 90s when you lived with Mick Malloy. You were the master of Thai cuisine.
Yeah, well, I love doing it. Well, I sort of learnt, didn't I? I went to the little Thai restaurant in South Yarra and sat in the kitchen for an hour for 2 weeks.
Did you?
Every day of the week, yeah.
Just hung out and watched what they did?
And they showed me, yeah. At lunchtime.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, so now I can whip up a good green curry. But now you can buy, I used to make my own curry paste, but now you can buy good ones in the tin and you can just add a little bit to them and spruce them up a little bit. You can buy a really good green curry paste in the tin and just add a bit of garlic, a little bit of galanga.
See, I didn't know you can just go and sit in the kitchen.
Oh, I love it.
It's a great idea.
I cooked the stew. Yeah. I don't know how I did. I mean, they didn't like me.
Suddenly there's something else to do in the afternoons as well as YouTube, Ed.
But were you undercover, Gilbert? Were you just standing in the corner with a lampshade on your head?
No. I had a balaclava and a gun.
Oh, there you go.
It's Ed's new hobby, chef stalking.
Yeah, just let me watch.
Yeah.
Nobody move.
I like watching.
Yeah. Maybe you put that spoon down.
But I remember
spoon down.
We used to pester you all the time about, hey, what about a TV show? And this is the early 90s.
Right.
We go, what about a TV show where you just cook stuff and crack jokes in between?
Good idea.
And people looked at us like we were insane. Now there's just cooking shows
all there is.
all the time.
Oh, gee, and I live on the Foxtel Cooking Channel. I love it, and I've got IQ now, which is fantastic because you can tape things you miss. Like I missed the Graham Kennedy thing last night because I was rehearsing, and so I've got the IQ on that. But I tape all the cooking shows. I tape all the cooking shows, the ones I like. You know, the gondolier on the Murray, the flavours, they're so rich and strong. You grab the sausages, you work them. And, you know, when I come to this country in 1964, there were no olives. There was nothing, you know. And then you've got Neil Perry, who I really love. And I love Neil Perry. And, you know, there's so many good cooking shows.
Hey, there's something you mentioned, the Food Network on Foxtel. We're usually over on the Crime Investigation Network.
Oh, rightio, yeah.
There's a show coming up this week. Now, it's fairly blue to talk about it on air, I guess.
Yeah.
It's got such an embarrassing name that the announcer on the Crime Investigation Network doesn't even want to say the name of the show. But it's been reviewed in a lot of papers over the weekend. What is the name of that show, Mr. Marsland?
So if I say the name of this show, will it be taken out of context for the end of year tape?
Yes.
I hadn't thought of that.
I had. Why would we wait that long, Rich? Tomorrow's another day.
It's one of those titles where it's I something.
Rich,
And
the only way you can protect yourself is to put something underneath it.
Okay.
So if you put like the wacky nut house thing underneath it, then we won't be able to use it out of context.
I can't stop masturbating.
That's the name of a serious documentary on the Crime Investigation Network. But I love how what does the guy say in the ad? He goes, "And don't miss, I can't stop this week on the Crime Investigation Network."
Because he clearly got the script and went, I can say the man whose arms exploded.
Yeah,
I'm happy to say that.
And why isn't he answering the phone? I've been ringing him all day.
We must find out when that show's on and maybe direct our listeners towards it.
Absolutely right. We should have a screening. That'd be nice. Our first Get This Listener event. A screening of I Can't Stop Masturbating.
All right, that one's sorted. Global warming. What can we do about that, Gilbert?
Global
I tell you what I saw. Yeah, I saw an image.
It's like global warming.
Global warming.
All right, get me teeth in.
We sort that one out on a 4-minute segment. But I saw an image the other day at one of my local parks that could have been the cover of Time magazine to talk about the drought problem in Australia.
Yes. What was it?
And there's a park we've got near us that it's just no lawn. It's just brown grass.
Lovely.
But there's this one little patch next to some flowers that's like a sort of semicircle area of greenness because obviously the sprinkler arcs out and just makes that part green. And on that small bit of green grass, there was just a sad local dog doing that thing where they put the paws down the front and just drag their ass around because they've got a bit of worm action going on.
My brother used to do that.
And just doing circles on the one bit of green grass in the park. And I'm going, there is the drought crisis.
Other
captured.
dogs just waiting, looking at their watches.
Come on,
How long
mate.
are you gonna be, mate?
Give us a go.
It's really
and
itchy
his
back here.
owner and his 4 friends are just yelling, "Oh, isn't he a clever dog? Isn't he a clever dog?"
Get that onto YouTube. A lot of people calling in saying ringtones. Gilbo, do you have a ringtone and what's your recommendation?
My ringtone is Yakety Sax off the Benny Hill Show.
Fantastic. So when your phone goes off, do you feel the urge to run around in fast motion, ripping women's clothes off? Of course you do.
That's Saturday nights, great comedy classics on Channel 7.
Oh, you're still doing that?
Still doing that, yeah. Saturday night, 7:30 on 7.
Are Harold and Maude still making an appearance?
Harold and Maude.
No, I
you
haven't-
mean George and Mildred?
George and Mildred.
Oh, that's what I
Although
meant.
Harold and Maude would be an interesting sitcom.
That's a film, isn't it?
Young
Yeah,
man.
I
It's a
think-
great movie.
About a young guy in love with an old lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh, I've seen it. Sorry, George and Mildred was the one I meant.
Yeah, George and Mildred. No, that's at the moment we have Keeping Up Appearances
yes.
and also Benny Hill and it changes. We're hoping to get a couple of other shows at the moment, but we do have on the buses. We mixed it up a little bit now.
You do?
Yeah, it's all good.
Because George and Mildred was depressing, I found.
It was depressing.
They clearly hate each other and life itself.
No, they actually loved each other. They were annoyed with each other. I just find On the Bus is amazing. Yeah.
Let's not.
I love On the Bus.
Please don't have an argument about George and Mildred.
No, that's it.
Just on ringtones, a lot of people want this to be a ringtone.
I'm free.
There's no music in there, so I think we can put that up. Because you know our original ringtone, the one that started the whole phenomenon, the Rex Hunt ringtone.
Oh, now this is when he got caught doing stuff.
Yeah, well, people are sick to death of it.
Yeah.
But like a lot of things, it's caught on belatedly in Japan.
Really?
Yes. Dwayne has called us to say that recently his girlfriend, her phone went off in Osaka in a bar, and she was swarmed with people wanting that Rex Hunt phrase for their ringtone.
Are we big in Japan?
It's sad. It's usually when you're on the way out, you're big
really?
in Japan, aren't you?
Like Mr. Baseball, Tom Selleck.
Hey, what about this? Andy wants us to get the falling over the bin noise from the New Zealand drunk, put it onto the end of the Flintstones running noise, and make that a ringtone. People are doing Matt Dower's job for him now. And then Craig has called to say the clip of the drunk guy falling over the bin, trying to break into that woman's house. It was my Auntie Linda's house in New Zealand.
Congratulations, sir.
That's almost as sad as the bloke who looks like Galen at your gym.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. I saw him the other day.
We should do that. We should get the saddest ever celebrity squares
that's
cast.
a good idea.
We get the bloke who gets mistaken for Galen at your gym, the bloke whose auntie was in Police 10-7.
It's not
I've got a mate
bad.
who looks like Humphrey Bear.
And then
That's good. He's in. He's in.
And then just me and Ed,
Yes.
obviously, as well. Hey, surely you could play David Hicks in a sketch on Rove. Wouldn't that be good?
I was watching that footage yesterday, and what was interesting is that the RAF base Edinburgh is very close to where I grew up. And I was watching him thinking, geez, how are they going to shake off the media? I hope they don't take Main North Road. They better take Heaslip Road.
It's really?
No traffic lights. It's 90 kilometres an hour. It's a single lane road.
Give him the hot tip.
Oh, look, we will have...
Good place to make out near the RAF base, is it, Rich?
It's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, all this David Hicks talk, it's distracting from the war on terror.
Isn't it, though?
You know, how's
I've been wondering what he was watching on that plane. He got to see an in-flight movie.
Yeah.
Geez, I hope it was Meatballs 4.
Yeah.
I caught up with that over the weekend.
Yeah, what did
Remember
you
we were discussing with Stephen Curry, was it?
Yeah.
How quickly you see some nooks in any given film.
Yeah.
Meatballs 4, about 6 minutes in, for no possible reason, all of the girls go to a group shower while the boys go to lunch.
Yeah.
And then the wall falls down in the shower. The walls just fall over. Under the pressure of Norks, the walls just fall over and they go spilling out onto the ground.
6 seconds in, I think the Columbia woman in the logo top falls off during the logos at the beginning. I don't know if that was the film David Hicks is watching, but we're distracted from the war on terror, the main game.
Yeah, the main game.
It's cost us Tony Blair.
No, I know.
Did you see his joint speech at the White House with George Bush on the weekend?
I didn't.
Oh, it was fantastic. We've got it here.
Let me say that when hostilities broke out between the US and Iraq, we in Britain knew instantly that there would be no backing down, that we would do whatever George W. Bush told us to do. And I would like to think that although this war has cost me my entire political career, and even though it has caused me to visibly age nearly 30 years in just the last 14 months alone, at no time have I looked as sycophantic as Prime Minister Howard from Australia. And President Bush, even though you still have no idea who I am, together we have been unflinching in our pig-headed refusal to accept that this war has been anything other than an unmitigated cock-up from the beginning. And for that, we stand together, both of us, on the verge of unemployment. And for that, Mr. President, I say thanks a f***ing lot.
Well, would you please welcome back to the podium President Bush.
Thank you, Prime Minister Tony Major, from the United States of Great England, home of Ozzy Osbourne and Queen Victoria, and her husband, David Beckham. As the song has it, God save the Queen and her fascist regime. You know, Prime Minister, you're right. I don't recognize you. But if I did, I'm sure I would thank you for being my very favorite of the two other members of the Coalition of the Willing. Now, many of you may be asking, what has Great England contributed to the war? And if it's that little, why do they even bother? Well, in tribute to their disgraced outgoing Prime Minister, Sir Peter O'Toole, I present this extraordinary footage of British troops in Iraq going about their deadly business. Roll tape. Here we see crack troops from Great England rounding up insurgents. making the streets of Basra a safer place for the people of Iran. Now, here come Her Majesty's finest, parachuting in one of the most deadly theaters of war.
Sorry, can I just ask, where did you get this footage?
Well, I think it's off YouTube.
But why is that music on there?
Well, it's just to lighten the mood. It gives people hope.
Well, I'm not sure.
Now look at this. The SAS elite as they pursue known terrorists through the streets of downtown Baghdad. Here they are, arriving at al-Zarqawi's house. Watch this bit. That's great. Bin Laden, you're next.
I don't think the sound effects...
Sorry, who are you again? Security, can you escort this man from the building?
No need for that.
Hey, look at this bit, everybody. Take that, insurgents. Can we get some snacks in here?
Chilling.
Wow.
Chilling footage.
And
that's the footage they won't let you see.
And a great victory for Sex Pistols fans. A joke for them so early on in the program.
Get this, it's blown out to 2 hours, 11 to 1 weekdays on the Triple M network.